collide. Die Hard MMA podcast, we won't hide. Clint's gonna dig deep, analyze each brawl from the underdogs to the champions standing tall. The fury, let your instincts rise. Feel the adrenaline rush, it's time to defy. Die Hard MMA, we're in for the thrill. Get ready for the madness. Let's make that bankroll spill. Let's make that bankroll spill.
Do it one more time for Rusty. No, Rusty, I love you, buddy. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't put you through the theme song a second time in a row. What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome into the Undefeated post-weigh-in show. UFC Rio season this week. Boy, did I have a week from hell this week, you guys. If you couldn't tell, just the immense relief washing over me to be sitting here on this show talking about fights with you guys. Hope you all are doing well. Let's turn that chat section on so you guys can be part of the show. Get your comments in here. What's up, everybody? How's it going, Carrillo? Appreciate you. Salt Dirt, Chris Wilson, what is going on? We have got Cameron Junkin hanging out. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you very much. Favi, what's going on from Twitch? Good to see you. Thank you very much. Hey, if you sent me an ad on Discord, I'll accept the invite. I don't do Discord very often. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm Unk status at this point. I'm a little old. I'm a little outdated. I thought about creating a Die Hard MMA Discord. I actually have it all like set up and haven't quite pulled the trigger on it yet for some reason, just because I want to make sure it's a safe space for everyone to hang out and talk and the haters don't have access to it. So I'm still trying to work all that out. So don't worry, we'll get there. I'll do that. But if you send me an invite on Discord, I will definitely accept. It should just be Die Hard MMA Pod like everything else. I try to keep it nice and uniform on there. Anyway, all right, guys. Hockey's back. Playoff baseball's on. Football is in full swing, and we got fights to boot. It is the absolute best time of year for us gambling degenerates, and the Undefeated post-weigh-in show is ready and coming to you here to talk about UFC Rio 1 last time, taking every little bit of information we've got to try to give you what you need to make a good bet, and make that bet using CloudBet.com. Use the link in the description below. Promo code is DieHardMMA. You're going to get up to $2,500, a welcome rollout red carpet treatment for the Die Hard MMA fans over on cloudbet.com. I actually think you get a sweat-free first bet as well when you sign up. So you guys make sure you're taking advantage of that. Use that promo code. Let's get in there, okay? We've got some fights to talk about. We are going to go over these weigh-ins and these face-offs, and then we will talk about our shots at some action here. Let's see what we got here. First fight of the night, everybody. Luan Lacerda taking on Simon Oliveira. Okay, we got to switch hats here. We got to already. We need the tinfoil cap on, because what is going on? What the hell is happening in the UFC right now? People are taking weight for their fights the way we treat speed limits, right? It's just a suggestion. I'm gonna go 5 to 8 over, and I know the police aren't gonna pull me over. Like that's how these guys are weighing in for these fights these days. It used to be we were very tight, we were very professional, everybody came in on point, and now these guys they're just like, like whatever. I'll miss by 3, I'll miss by 5, I'll pay the fine. It doesn't matter. You've got Simon Oliveira, who is a full weight class larger than his opponent. He's coming in at 144 for a 135-pound fight. It's absolute insanity. Apparently, he is giving up 50%, 50% of his purse because of this egregious weight miss. And they're doing something that the UFC does not normally do, and that they're enforcing a day of weigh-in limit. He cannot weigh above 155 pounds when they fight tomorrow. So that's something like, I think what was it? ONE FC or like Risen, they do like the limited weight cut thing, so you have to maintain a certain amount of weight always to fight in the weight class that you want to be in, so you can't be a weight bully. They do it specifically. The UFC doesn't really ever do that, but because of this egregious way, and this guy is not allowed to rehydrate up to a certain point because he's coming in so heavy. I am shocked that this fight is still going, considering the amount of other fights that we have lost on this card. This feels like a UFC kind of bending the rules in Rio because we can't have a 6-fight card, right? We cannot put on a 6-fight event, so we've got to not lose one more of these fights on this thing. Please, boys, keep it together. We'll give you a massive extra chunk of money, and we'll go to whatever lengths you say to make sure we can keep this scrap on the table here. But Simon Oliveira going to have a decent weight advantage probably coming in here on Saturday, which is just, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But as you can see here, they size up decently well. It does seem like, you know what? I got to check something here, because guys, I will confess, I messed up here. I mixed up who this is. That's the one, Lacerda. Okay, I'm like, I just want to make sure I don't, you know what, I can't be like talking out of my ass here and tell you which one is who, right? So, from my understanding, Luan Lacerda is the one on the right. Simon Oliveira, the one who does look significantly larger, I believe here. Yeah, there we go. Jeffrey knows what's up. The hydration test here in ONE Championship, and yeah, Saltert. Oh my God, Mo Usman. We'll mention that right after this one. We'll mention that, but don't even. Like, oh my God, I'm so pissed about that. At any rate, you guys, this is a bad fight. I mean, Liam and I broke this one down on Monday, and we kind of talked about it back and forth. And I'm just like, you really can't feel confident, in my opinion at least, about either person in this fight. I don't particularly like this fight. I don't particularly like either fighter coming into this one. I do like Simon Oliveira's tattoos. He's pretty sick looking with the ink that he's got going on there. But at 34 years old, 3 losses in a row, still has yet to sniff victory in the UFC. And then coming in here as a big underdog, like, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Like, Liam leans dog or pass in this one, and I kind of get it. But the weight bullies have been the ones who have been kind of getting it done. Luan Lacerda, very obviously the more naturally larger human being. He's training out of Nova União, a gym that I really respect. And even though he is 0-2 so far in the UFC, he's younger. He's 2 years younger. It's not a huge deal, but I feel like he's got more upside. So, like, for me, it's still favored or pass. And especially with the weight bully situation going on, I've got to lean favored or pass, because he's just going to be so much larger. You could try to take the angle of, well, maybe he didn't take this thing seriously, right? Maybe he didn't train. Maybe he didn't do his cardio and his road work, and that's why he came in. But we don't know that. We don't know that. So all I know is this guy is going to be 10 pounds heavier than his opponent. Probably an advantage. So yeah, I'll take the younger, larger, heavier man here, but there's no way I'm betting this fight. You can't bet that fight. Like, you got to know something. You got to have some kind of inclination to bet that fight. I just don't. The next fight up, though, is women's MMA at its finest. Julia Pilastri takes on Karolina Kowalkiewicz. We've got both women coming in at 116 pounds here for this fight. As you can see, they size up pretty well. Slight height and reach advantage here for Karolina, but if you see these women stand next to each other, there is a definitive edge and physicality for Julia Pilastri. She's a little tank, you guys. Like, this she's your classic Brazilian woman monster that you're like, oh my Lord. Like, she is very thick. She is very well muscled. She is in serious shape. I like her. I like her a lot. So in this spot, it is never Carolina for me. She's plus 400. And if you want to say higher ceiling, better experience, more technique, like all these things, it makes sense. Like if you want to ride one with the old dog here, you're getting a very juicy number to do so. I personally am a never Carolina Kovalevich person. Now, Juliana Palastri, having only won a single fight within the UFC and having that singular fight be won by split decision is not something that justifies this kind of a price tag. Minus 500, you guys. This is insanity. I posted on Twitter today that frankly, you guys, and now I'm running a betting channel here, right? I've got a sports book sponsor that sponsors the show. I am your friendly neighborhood degenerate. I'll bet on anything. You give a couple of bums some boxing gloves and throw them in a back alley, and I'll set a line for you and take action, right? But I don't like a lot on this card. They have this card lined so well, in my opinion, that it's just like you don't want to lay the price they have on the favorite, but you're pretty sure the favorite is going to win. So if you're going to pick a dog, you've got to have some info. You've got to really have some vibe as far as why you want that underdog. And I feel like every single fight where I get kind of close to that, those are the pick'ems. Those are the pick'ems on the fight card. So you're getting plus 110, plus 120, right? Like those are the spots where I'm just like, ugh, it's really frustrating because there's not a whole lot to sink your teeth into. And these are not the kind of favorites that you want to be parlaying 3 legs together for even money. Julia Palastri at minus 535. No, thank you. No, thank you. I want to get a little bit crazy on this one. Plus 930 using cloudbet.com. Julia Palastri by knockout. You guys, that to me, that it's just got to be a little bit of a sprinkle. Maybe you want to go inside the distance. Carolina has been choked out before, but she's been on the wrong side of physicality several times already in her career, flying halfway around the world to Brazil. She's been finished before in very similar situations to this, and she's getting towards the end of her career. Some of her comments that she made this week, she's talking about really like desperately needing to get her hand raised and stuff like that. I mean, it sounds like going out on top to me, right? It sounds to me like we are nearing that second retirement from Carolina, and she's trying to go out with a win. So if she's got one foot out the door, and I think there's a chance we see her hang up the gloves this weekend. Pure speculation. I didn't hear the R word, but I kind of feel like that's something that might be happening soon. You want to fade that person. And I think there's a very good chance of a finish when you fade those people. So it is definitely Palastri for me. I am curious what the inside the distance is. So if you don't want to just mess around with the KO, it's like plus 300, plus 330, something like that for inside the distance. That's not so bad. Turning a minus 500 favorite into a plus 300 line doesn't seem so bad to me. Now, it is women's MMA, which is notorious for going the full 15 minutes. So you got to kind of take that with a bit of a grain of salt, but that's the way I lean. That's the way I lean. All right, guys, moving right along. We have got Lucas Roca, and I hate that this thing does that. Sorry about that. If I tab wrong, for some reason, the screen disappears for you guys. Lucas Roca takes on Stuart Nickel, 126 on the dot for both of these men here weighing in this spot. And this is one of those fights that it's a fun prospects matchup, in my opinion. I'm very curious to see what goes on here. But you've got another situation where we don't know a whole lot about these guys. And this is that pick 'em price tag that I'm talking about. Lucas Roca and Stuart Nickel, 2 of the smaller guys in this weight class. And I've commented that about both of them in their fights so far in the UFC. So the UFC is like, okay, you're both tiny. Let's go ahead and throw you in there against each other. And I'm like, oh, great. Like, so nobody's got the size advantage, right? Nobody's got the strength advantage. I don't know what to do with that. I kind of feel like Nickel might be the side here, but you guys, honestly, this is one where I'm like, I'm really, really struggling. Roca looks like he's really fun. He's super young. He's got a ton of experience at just 25 years old. Nickel, I feel like maybe he's got his man muscles at 30 years old. He's a little bit stronger, but he's low on the on the experience edge side of things. He got memed out by Jesus Aguilar in his UFC debut. So I want to lean towards Nickel because I'm just like, man, like if you slip up, you make one mistake, you left your neck out there for just a split second too long. I feel like he's probably got the more well-rounded game at this point, but we haven't seen a lot of either of them at this level to truly make that determination. So I just kind of got to leave it alone. I'm not a big fan of this fight, guys. It's a pick 'em. It should be fun to watch. I don't want to flip a coin. So I'm going to side ever so slightly with Stuart Nickel here on this one, being the older person and hopefully more developed fighter at this stage of his career, but definitely not a bet that I'm considering at this point. Next up, we are back to the ladies. We have got Beatriz Mesquita making her UFC debut, taking on Irina Alexieva. 136 here for Mesquita, 135.5 for Irina. The image doesn't really quite do it justice. Irina a little bit larger. You can see her kind of leaning in here, but look at the back on Beatriz Mesquita. Like, look at the arms, look at the shoulders. She's an ATT girl. You know what I mean? She's that ATT kind of girl. You can just tell just by looking at her. She's got some serious muscle on her, and she's got that. Look at her little quirky smile, that knowing smile of I'm just not worried about you, bitch. Like you can see it written all over her face right here. And not only that, you guys, but we got to bust out the tinfoil cap one more time here for you on this one, because we have the unworthy touching of the UFC belt angle coming in here into this one. Irina Alexieva, we have photographic evidence now of her posing with the new current UFC belt thrown up and over her shoulder. And I got to tell you guys, that does not bode well. The two instances that come to mind of this angle are Thimba Gorimbo and Molly McCann. They make a big deal of being champ. They make a big deal about grabbing the belt. They take photos with it. They want to just, I'm the best. I'm the champ. You doubt me now. I'm climbing the ladder. And it is unbecoming of a prospect or a contender to touch that belt until you are the champion. Now, in certain situations, like Conor McGregor ripping the belt from Jose Aldo, it's like you guys are literally fist fighting for that belt over the weekend. You're truly capable of holding that belt, right? That's a different story. These are people who aren't even scraping contender level. These are people who are going to get booted from the UFC after having probably a less than 500 record. And yet you want to grab that gold, something that you're unworthy of. You're never going to touch that thing, but you want to parade around like there's a shot at you being UFC champ. Don't get me wrong. I love Anthony Smith level self-confidence and delusion with these fighters. They've got to have that. That's key to their role. If you want to get into a cage and fist fight half naked for money, like that's something that's got to be built into you, and I respect it. But some of these people also know better than to go out there and grab that belt when you're nowhere near it. And Irina Alexieva put her hands on it. So no, we already were on the Beatrice side of things here. But if that wasn't enough, now we are absolutely not going to be taking anywhere close to a look of Irina Alexieva. Beatrice is a 6-1 favorite, you guys. Absolutely massive favorite here on this spot. And I think we have to just plug our nose and lay the chalk about minus 125-ish on Beatrice by sub. We did this just a couple weeks ago with a very similar story, a fellow ATT prospect, somebody who's got a lot of grappling chops, somebody who's got a strength bully advantage, and she didn't get the sub, right? We just did this. We just got burnt by it. And unfortunately, I think we just have to do it again. Irina Alexieva is a crazy woman. She will fight with you wherever you want to. She will get in there and scramble with you. She hunts leg locks. She'll put herself in bad positions. Like, this is exactly the kind of person who a jiu-jitsu ace world champion will submit. Minus 125. Got to take a shot. Got to take a shot on minus 125 by sub. Get in there, do your damn job, take this girl down, choke her out for having the audacity to touch that gold belt. Next up, we are going all the way in the opposite direction, out of the women's division, all the way to the tippy top, the heavyweight boys. And unfortunately, I think it's our only heavyweight fight on the card. I do want to just make mention real quick, you guys, very, very sadly, Muhammad Usman has been pulled off of this card. He gets to keep his ankles. We are not going to get to see Walter Walker go out there, be hilarious, and rip another guy's foot off, unfortunately. And it's funny, before I get into this fight here, it's funny because apparently Usman popped for having elevated testosterone like 6 months ago. And nobody was going to say shit about it. They were just going to let him move on and do his thing. So somehow, some way, that is in process. Now, for whatever reason, when he's got a fight tomorrow, they yank him off the card. I mean, at this point, look, we're past the point where like corruption and drug cheating, and they got rid of USADA, and like the UFC doesn't really care at this point. Just let him fight, man. Like, go put him in there tomorrow, slap him on the wrist on Monday. You know what I mean? Like, wait, you've known about it for 6 months. The flight is booked. Everybody's in Rio. Just give us the fight, and then you can discipline him. Right? Like, we might as well at this point. Let's stop pretending. Anyway, we're all very, very sad. Walter Walker had apparently a backup fighter who was scheduled to step in and decided at the last second not to take it. So that's why we lost that fight. No ankles are safe with Walter Walker. Anyway, back to this fight, right? Vitor Petrino and Thomas Peterson. Vitor is coming in at 250 pounds. Thomas Peterson, 246 and a half. It's pretty insane to me that Vitor Petrino has blown up the way that he has. He's almost at that heavyweight limit coming in here after moving up from 205 pounds. Vitor Petrino is nearing a minus 300 favorite line here, and Thomas Peterson is a plus 235 underdog. And as you guys can see, moving up a weight class and filling out the way that he has, Vitor Petrino absolutely has a size advantage here in this spot. It's not huge. It's not overbearing, but he's definitely the more physically imposing guy. This is a weird fight because I want nothing to do with minus 300 Vitor Petrino. However, if you ask me who wins this fight, I'm going to tell you Vitor Petrino, right? Like, he hits like an absolute truck. We've seen his knockout power before. He can grapple his ass off. He's so big and he's so strong. He has no problem taking people down. He can get on top of them. He's got a nasty squeeze on him. He's actually got some decent jiu-jitsu chops, as it turns out. However, you guys, this is the rip the live bet spot of the night, in my opinion, because Vitor Petrino has a very sketchy gas tank. He's also got a very sketchy heart. If he's not out there being the bully, we've already seen him get finished late in the fight before, and he doesn't seem to have the greatest chin. The cardio goes out the window, and all Thomas Peterson does is grind. So if it takes effort from Vitor to get Thomas Peterson to the ground, and then he fails to submit him early, we could see the tides of this fight turn very quickly. Now, I think even money on Vitor Petrino inside the distance is probably the best way to bet this fight, right? But the other option is Thomas Peterson money line, Thomas Peterson by decision. Hell, Thomas Peterson round 3. Maybe you take a look at the round 3 prop for Thomas Peterson, because if Vitor ends up on his back underneath Thomas probably doesn't let him off the hook. Now, I'm not sure he's got enough physical ability to actually get in there and finish this guy. But if he just starts pounding and never lets Vitor off the hook, then the ref probably has to step in and do something. So, yeah, I like Vitor Petrino. I'm picking him to win inside the distance. The minus 300 favorite should be safe, but in my opinion, in no way is he actually safe. It's a pretty insane fight to me. I hate spots like that, you guys. You know me. You guys know me, right? I look left, I look right, there's no cars coming, and then an airplane flies down and smashes into my head. That's exactly how I get hit in these situations, and it's very, very frustrating. So if this guy wins inside the distance, it's going to make perfect sense, but there's so many other ways this fight can go. It's so sketchy. Minus 300 on Vitor Petrino, never, ever. Next up, João Filho and Clayton Carpenter. They close out the preliminary action here on this one. João Filho does have a height and reach advantage, 126 pounds for both men. Clayton Carpenter looks pretty sharp, guys. Looks pretty sharp. I mean, it's not a huge height and reach advantage for João Filho. Clayton looks like he's filling out pretty well. He does seem to be developing those man muscles. I think he's 29 now, so we can't really call him a kid anymore. I'm just an old man, apparently. This should be a hell of a fight, because every single João Filho fight is must-see TV. We've got to pick them. Slight plus money on the João Filho side of things, even money on João Filho, and then it's like minus 110 on the Clayton Carpenter side of things. Cloud bet, you can get plus 102 on João Filho. I like João Filho this week, you guys. I still am not entirely sure what the UFC is doing with Clayton Carpenter. I talked about this on the Monday podcast. The way they matchmake this guy, they either have the highest expectations of him ever and just think he's going to be a stud, or they're sacrificing him. It's one or the other. There's no in between, right? Like, this guy hasn't proven that he's got it here at the UFC level at this point, and they are throwing him into the fire. Like Jafel Filo has fought some serious names in this weight class, and they're giving Clayton Carpenter a go with this guy. So it's pretty wild, in my opinion. Violence kind of makes some sense here to me. Both guys have a submission game. Both guys have power in their hands. Clayton Carpenter is a gas machine. I do think there's potential for both these guys to finish. If Clayton wins, I talked about my on my prop show. You guys should check that out, by the way. I talked about Clayton Carpenter potentially round 3, where if Jafel Filo gasses out, he probably could pound his way to a victory if he keeps that cardio going. But before that, I think Jafel Filo can win by knockout. I think Jafel Filo can win by sub. Clayton is a guy who will refuse to give up on himself. He will go out on his shield, I think, if he has to. And that's something where I think Jafel Filo will oblige and let him go out on his shield, right? If he gets the opportunity to put him down. This is a great fight. This is a really, really fun fight. Jafel Filo is not too old, I don't think, to be considered still like a potential contender. I worry about the cardio. I worry about the gas tank. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure I'm really ready to put my money on Clayton Carpenter in this kind of a fight, especially in enemy territory. Really tough one, you guys. Another one, like I said, another one where like I've got an opinion, I've got a lean here, but I just don't love it. You know what I mean? Like Jafel Filo, by all intents and purposes, probably a short-term contender for dog of the week. I didn't even make a dog of the week this week, you guys. Like I have so few convictions at UFC Rio. It's tough. It's tough sledding this week. Next up, you have got Lucas Almeida taking on Michael Aswell. 145.5 for both guys, and damn, Lucas Almeida looks big. I really thought Michael Aswell was going to look a little bit better coming into this fight. I didn't think he would be quite so undersized here. Lucas Almeida is a very, very big man. We know this, but we were looking forward to Michael Aswell dropping down to his normal weight class. You know, he made his UFC debut, short notice, up a weight class. He looked small. Doesn't shock anybody, right? Now he's taking on Lucas Almeida, and I was hoping he wouldn't look quite as small, but there's a significant size difference here. And Lucas Almeida hits freaking hard, you guys. That's kind of his calling card. As he goes out there, he goes to war, he tries to put hands on you. I think Lucas Almeida will do that, and Michael Aswell will be happy to meet him in the center of the cage. Michael Aswell is 25 years old, so he's younger. He's got durability. He's got a chin. He's never been knocked out. Taking short notice fights up a weight class where his cardio still checked out, his chin still checked out, his heart still checked out. Liam Picks Fights, my boy, talked me into the Michael Aswell side here on this one. He is a minus 250 favorite now, which is holy crap insanity. Can you believe this number? Oh my God. I might have to take a flyer on Lucas Almeida, you guys. Now, I know you just heard me say Liam talked me into Michael Aswell. Let me tell you, let me paint you a story here. I did the tape. I watched these guys. I did my research, and I'm going, I slightly lean to Lucas Almeida, right? That's the side that I kind of lean to here. The numbers pick them. And then Michael Aswell, I listened to Liam. We talked through the cardio. We talked through the short notice, and I'm like, you know, you might be onto something. Michael Aswell probably the side here on this one. And it was like minus 150 on Monday. We are now sitting minus 260 on this line. Oh, the chat letting me know what's up. Okay. Almeida apparently has a broken hand. I see. That would make a little bit more sense. Okay. I found it. You guys, I missed it. I scrolled a little too fast. You can kind of see it right there. Look at the swelling on that bad boy. Holy shit. That's another fight we could have lost. And the commission's just like, nope, let him run. Let him run it. Oh, Brazil. God love you. Yeah. Guys, that makes a whole lot more sense. Lucas Almeida having a busted right hand, down one weapon going into this fight, makes a whole lot of sense why this number has moved so aggressively. And that's pretty egregious. You can see it. You're right. Like he's not even hiding it well. You can absolutely see the swelling on that thing walking up to the scales. Oh boy. Okay. I mean, yeah, what are you going to do with that? Like there's not a whole lot else to say. If you've got two hands and your opponent's only got one, that's a pretty steep advantage for you. So going to be tough for Lucas Almeida to overcome that, especially considering he's a power puncher. That's like his whole thing is he wins fights when he hits people really hard. Yeah, Chris with a decent note here though. Figgy had two broken hands against Pantoja, just threw elbows. It works. It's possible you could do that. But Lucas Almeida, he's more of a, I think he's more of like a big counter guy. He does have some jujitsu going, and he has hit some stuff like, flying knees and shit like that. But the majority of his knockout wins, unless I'm mistaken, were just big punches. I'm just looking back through his topology right now to verify what my brain is telling me is true. And yeah, I'm seeing a lot of KO, TKO via punches, KO via punch, KO via punches. Yeah, yeah. So he's a hands guy. That's still crazy though. As well, at this point, is still not someone who's been vetted at the UFC level. So minus 250, minus 300 on that guy. I still see, right, like it's every damn fight on this card. I still just don't want to do that. I still just don't want to do that. I wanted to take the flyer on Lucas Almeida after seeing everybody pile in on one side. I'm like, okay, gotta go, right? Gotta take this giant number now that the number is blown out the way that it has, but not with a broken hand. Can't do it going in with a broken hand, you guys, unfortunately. That's sad. That makes me sad. Okay. Next up, we've got Ricardo Ramos and Con Ofli. 146 for Ramos, 145 and a half for Con Ofli, and they size up pretty well. I actually thought Ricardo Ramos would have a decent little size advantage here. I thought he would look a little bit bigger when they stood next to each other here. Now, word on the street and word on the face is that Ricardo Ramos has migrated out to the Fighting Nerds for this one, you guys. Look at the glasses. He is working with the Fighting Nerds coming into this fight. And for somebody who my biggest gripe on him has been his decision making, his lack of heart, his lack of testicular fortitude, that's probably a good spot for him to go, right? Like you want him at a good place where they're going to drill him with high level opponents and they're going to drill him with a solid game plan. Bruna Brazil won a couple of fights with the Fighting Nerds just because they got her to stick to a good game plan and coaxed her into believing in herself again once or twice. So it's not out of the question, right? I do not like Con Ofli, you guys. I don't think Con Ofli has a lot to offer. I just don't see his path to victory here. I mean, he's 32 years old. He's got some submission wins on him, but he doesn't really have many. I think he's got one guillotine to his name. We looked it up on Monday when we were talking about Ramos having those those mental breaks where he doesn't. He gives up the neck when he shoots in for takedowns and stuff like that. So hopefully could hit him with the guillotine. If you look over at cloudbet.com, plus 544 for Con Ofli by sub. So that neck is going to be there and available. What I think is going to happen in this fight is that it's very, very boring. And I think that Ricardo Ramos is going to do exactly what he needs to do to win, whether that's punchy kicky at range, just barely picking and poking at him and then running the rest of the time, whether he engages Con Ofli where he wants to be, which is in the clinch and just kind of doing enough at that point. I feel like Ricardo Ramos does not have a career resurgence like Dom Reyes. He is not the phoenix rising from the ashes. He's more of a hatching baby turtle where he has to waddle his way to the beach, right? Like that. He's gonna get the win. I just don't think it's gonna be very fun. I think it's gonna be a decision, and getting him by decision is like plus 150. It's gross. Ricardo Ramos minus 200 is gross. Ricardo Ramos by decision at just barely plus 150 is just filthy work, you guys. Not good, nasty stuff. But that's the way I expect this fight to go. I actually considered parlaying Ricardo Ramos in this spot just because I think Con Ofli is fucking terrible. Like that's I shout out my boy Wiz. If you guys don't know, Wiz was Liam's guest on his podcast this week, and he said the nicest thing I've ever heard. He said that somebody was lacking in skill. I was like, that is the nicest way I've ever heard somebody say their ass. Right? Like I am a degenerate. I don't watch my mouth quite that much. He works with fighters. He's got to be a little bit more subdued in those types of areas. I very much appreciated the effort there from Wiz. I like that. He is lacking in skill. I'll just say it. He's ass. I don't think Con Ofli has a future in the UFC at all, you guys. And while Ricardo Ramos is a guy I generally would like to fade and have faded before many times, successfully, I might add, this is a spot where I think that UFC caliber experience matters. I think the better gym matters. I think the higher level athlete makes a difference. And so, yeah, I got to go with Ricardo Ramos in this spot. That's the pick. That's the play. Let me get this queued up here for you guys. There we go. For some reason, it was messing with me. Next fight. Oh boy. Work with me. There we go. Next fight. We have got Jonathan Denise taking on Mario Pinto. 257 for Denise, 255 for Pinto. And oh my lord, he is pulling a Tom Aspinall, you guys. We got to break out the tinfoil cap for this one more time. He's pulling a Tom Aspinall. He's measuring the distance. Oh my lord. Pinto coming up there, staring this man straight in the face and doing the arm on shoulder, the little bro, like, oh my lord. Oh, so you guys know I am absolutely part of Team Casual here on this one. This is the Sharps versus Squares conversation piece of the week. If you watched Jonathan Denis' last fight, you said to yourself one of two things. You said to yourself, oh, he did a really good job not giving up on himself and beating up a guy who was extremely using PEDs and got cut from the UFC immediately after one fight because of his egregious PED use. Or you watched that fight and you went, damn, Jonathan Denis is ass. This bouncer from Minnesota, he couldn't get him out of the cage, right? It's one of two thoughts here. I am of the ass category myself, right? Actually a boob man, but today I'm an ass man. Jonathan Denis is somebody who I'm not sold on, right? 9-1, 34 years old. Yes, he's Brazilian. Yes, he's got 7 KOs. Yes, he's a big man who hits really hard, but he's also got a really basic set of skills. It's so funny to me when you hear these guys, the world-class kickboxers, and then he comes to the UFC and he's like a 1-2 merchant, right? He doesn't do anything. Like, he's a 1-2 merchant and it just works for him, right? This kid, Mario Pinto, I like him. I like him. He's undefeated. A lot of people are talking down on him. He's really big. As you guys saw, he's got the height advantage. He's got the reach advantage. He's only 27 years old, so he's got a long way to go. He did have some sketchy moments against Austin Lane, which is not a great thing to look at, but he counters really well. He's got really fast hands. He's got good volume. I think he's pretty athletic for his size. And then on top of that, I don't know if he can wrestle very well, but I know Jonathan Denis cannot. Jonathan Denis, if you put him on his back, he's a freaking turtle. He can't get up. And I think that's an avenue to victory for Pinto. Now, I don't know if Pinto is actually going to take that path to victory. There's a very real chance he doesn't take that path to victory. But I think you have to look at him potentially grappling if he feels like he can't hang with this guy on the feet. And it's just a get out of jail free card. You could be having a point striking match, get clipped with one big, and then hit the legs and you're the bigger man, send this guy spiraling down to the mat, and there goes the rest of the round, right? So he could absolutely save himself in bad, sketchy positions. And I'm not laying chalk on Jonathan Denis anymore in these spots, ever again. I had Jonathan Denis by KO against Alvin Hines. I had Jonathan Denis, I think I took his money line actually against Marcin Tybura. And I want to say I took him by KO against Carl Williams as well. So I'm 0-3 in the last Denis fights, trying to figure out what the hell this guy can do at the UFC level. And at the end of the day, I'm feeling a little jaded and I'm just not impressed. So undefeated, young kid, let's go. And Doctor, I appreciate you popping in here. That was years and years and years ago, my man. And frankly, he gave what's his biscuit? He gave Montel Jackson one of the toughest fights he's ever had. So that was very much value when you look at that bet and you look back at that number. Like, yeah, he lost the fight, but I was very happy to take that number on him at that time, and he performed far better than anybody else did. You probably lost money betting Montel Jackson by knockout that night. So, it is what it is. Let's keep it rolling, baby. Next up, you have got the former 155er now moving up to 170 pounds, Yoel Alvarez, and he's taking on Vicente Luque. Guys, how did Yoel Alvarez ever make 155? How did Yoel ever make 155 pounds? Look how big he is compared to a lifelong 170 pounder. My God, this guy could move up to 185 if he wanted to. It's absolute insanity. I can't freaking believe it. Yeah, it's Yoel Alvarez for me, you guys. Like, I'm just going to bury the lead here and save a little bit of time here on this one. I absolutely think we are past the glory days of Vicente Luque, but I hate this number. Once again, I hate this number. It's Yoel Alvarez for me, but at minus 540, I can't get there. I can't get there. I do think it's a knockout personally, just because I want to, attack that fading durability of Vicente Luque. Plus 189 using cloudbet.com. Sign up using promo code DieHardMMA. Plus 189 for him by knockout. Now, I do think you could take the inside the distance prop, obviously, because you can cover yourself that way, but it's expensive. Like, he's minus 500 on the money line. He's minus 250 on the inside the distance prop. I hate laying that kind of chalk on the inside the distance props. I'd rather flip my coin KO or sub, right? I know you're flirting with danger when you do that, but I'd rather pick my poison and take plus money than lay that kind of chalk on an inside the distance prop when this guy is still untested at 170 pounds. Do I think he's going to succeed at 170? Yes, I do. Do I think he's going to knock out this man who is old and withered and busted? Yes, I do. But do I want to chalk up that way? No, I don't. So that's just the way I play the game. Next up, you guys, you have got the aforementioned Montel Jackson taking on Davison Figueiredo, the God of War. We got to stop calling him that. He's a wrestler now. 136 pounds for both men. Can you believe it? Like, look at these guys facing off. Davison looks like he's going to eat Montel for lunch, and he's twice his size. It's absolutely ridiculous. He's looking up at this dude, and look at the look on his face. Like, he just can't wait to get in there and shoot for takedowns. You saw him drilling takedowns with his coach at like the weigh-ins and stuff like that, or the ceremonial workouts that they do. That's all Figgy does these days, guys. He is a wrestler now. He'll look for one big punch, get the respect, and then he'll hit your legs and try to drag you to the floor. It's unfortunate. The good old days for Davison Figueiredo are over. I like Montel Jackson in this spot. I just think it's his time to shine. He's far younger. He's far larger. He hits extremely hard. Both guys hit hard. I'm not going to take credit away from Figgy for hitting hard, but I don't know if Figueiredo is going to have as much success wrestling against Montel Jackson as he expects to. Now, that being said, I do want to shout out the doctor in the chat one more time, because there was a time that I felt that JP Buys could out grapple someone like Montel Jackson, and Davison Figueiredo is a far better grappler than JP Buys was. So he's also far more durable. I mean, and that's really like the biggest calling card here, is that he is so much more durable. JP Buys, a stiff breeze could knock that guy out. So every time he got touched, he got rocked. It's not the same thing. Davison Figueiredo will eat punches with his forehead, no problem, and keep on coming. So if I was going to take the stab on JP Buys, granted, again, that was years ago, do we consider Davison Figueiredo at this point? I mean, with the way this number is looking, I liked Montel Jackson around the minus 200 range. He's up and over minus 300. And recently, guys, when all of us are on the same side, when everybody likes the same thing in MMA, it just doesn't work out. I don't know what the deal is. In every other major sport, when the market moves on something, you're on the right side. In MMA, when the market moves, you're wrong. Like, it's super weird. Everybody piles in on one side, and we all just get left holding the bag all night. Davison Figueiredo takedown props, if you can find those are probably a half decent look here in this spot. I could see him getting some grappling success going. His over 1.5 looks to be even money, so it's not like you're going to get a bargain on that or anything. But this is Brazil. If he's able to consolidate top time, 5-1 for Davison Figueiredo, for the sake of devil's argument, that you could look that way. You could look that way if you wanted to. I lean towards Montel Jackson landing something big. I do think Davison is probably old. He's past his prime. He's a little bit shot at this point. He's coming back off of a relatively quick turnaround from like an injury. That doesn't bode well. So I think Montel Jackson probably can clip him and knock him out. But I do worry about how low volume Montel Jackson can be. That's really, really a big thing with Montel Jackson, is that he's very low volume. He'll look for the perfect shot. And if he doesn't land that perfect shot, then he does end up tending to fall behind with the volume. And I don't want to say he gets out volume, because that's not entirely true, but he does end up in closer fights, I guess is a way I could put that. And if Davison Figueiredo can get his grappling going, this fight could be close. So if you want to look at the spread bet maybe on Davison Figueiredo, if you want to take a flyer on the dog, I'm not going to talk you out of it. It's another favorite or pass spot for me, and one that I looked at earlier in the week and just got the heebie-jeebies. I was like, I don't want to parlay up Montel Jackson and then lose a split decision in Brazil to Davison Figueiredo. Like, how gross would that feel? In Brazil, knowing how things go in Brazil, and then having a little monster like Figgy just top time this guy and get 2 rounds. Like, I would feel so sick. I love you too, doctor. I can't say the rest of your name because YouTube will take me down. But yeah, no. And no, see, that's the thing though. I'm not going to unblock you because if I blocked you, it was for a good reason. I only block people when they say and do things that they shouldn't. And if you cross that line with me, I don't have time for your ass. So no, I won't be unblocking you. If you said something abusive and I blocked you, you got to sit and deal with that shit. I don't mind you hanging out in this chat though. If you're going to be nice and you're going to have fun like this in the YouTube chat, then you can be unblocked here. But I'm not going to bother dealing with you anywhere else if you already crossed that line. All right, guys, main event time. Do me a favor, smash that like button, please. And of course, I got, before we go to the main event, of course, one more time, got to shout out the sponsor. Please, guys, sign up for Cloud Bet using promo code DieHardMMA. Use the link in the description of this video. I know it's not down there now. I didn't get it set up yet. I'll add it later. But if you sign up, use promo code DieHardMMA. That'll get you up to $2,500, up to $2,500. And a a rollout and welcome rollout welcome bonus. You get your first bet, I believe, sweat free as well. Please check that out. That's the best thing that you guys can do besides hitting the like button to support me. Appreciate you. If you're going to gamble your face off, do it where I'm sponsored, please. Main event time, you guys. We have got Charles Oliveira coming back here, taking on Mateus Gamrot. And I've got some thoughts on this one. Both guys come in at 156 pounds, right? Charles Oliveira slightly taller. We've got Mateus Gamrot coming in on short notice, and this thing's a pick'em. And I understand because Gamrot is kind of like the dark horse in this weight class. He's the guy that nobody wants to fight. He's the guy the UFC wants to keep away from the title because he's just too damn good. And they know if he gets a win in the right spot, he's going to be very tough to unseat. He's a very good fighter, but he's not overly entertaining. Do Bronx, definitely a UFC mainstay, a finisher. We know he's got knockout power, but he's kind of slowed down recently. He's coming off of a quick turnaround, relatively speaking, where he just got flatlined. The durability is something that's been a question mark for a very, very long time for him. It's tough right now on this fight because, believe it or not, I can see both these guys getting a finish in this fight. And it's crazy to say that because we don't ever get finishes from Gamrot, but we have seen him dedicating more to offense recently. He's not just taking people down and sitting on top of them. I'm sure the UFC sat him down and had that discussion where if he wants to go out there and get a title shot, he's going to have to win some fights. He's going to have to get some big moments. He's going to have to get some viral clips going, some finishes. So he's going to come out here and look for that. You know, in the Dan Hooker fight, he was landing big time ground and pound and he exhausted himself. He tried to punch Dan Hooker so many times he got tired. And in the third round, he was trying to survive. That's the thing I could see happening here. If he doesn't land big enough to put Charles all the way out, Charles can go to his back jiu-jitsu style and recover. And then we have the fight get extended. And then Charles comes back and whips his ass. That's the picture I have in my head, is that Gamrot hurts Charles early and gives us all a heart attack. And then Charles pulls it out late. And we get some kind of a late finish here in this fight because Gamrot will go to the wrestling. And in a 25-minute fight where you're short notice, you could absolutely get cooked. But there's one thing we've got to make sure we address here, and it takes the tinfoil cap being pulled out for you guys. Do Bronx is no longer Do Bronx. Charles Oliveira changed his name. He is now the Predator. And do you know why he's the Predator? Because he took money from the Predator. There's a new Predator movie coming out, and they partnered up with Charles Oliveira, and they want him to be the Predator to advertise the movie that's coming out. And that gives me vibes from when, like, Diego Sanchez went from being Nightmare to being the Dream. Now, granted, if you want me to change the name of my podcast from the Die Hard MMA podcast to the Die Hard Fade podcast, and you give me, $300,000 to do it, I'm saying yes. It's not even going to be a question. Smack the button. Let's go. Do it. I'll take the money, right? So I get it. You probably got a pretty penny to change his fight name. It'll probably be something that's unofficial, and he changes his back. And for his next fight after the promo period is over, he'll be Do Bronx again, that kind of thing. So there's no hate. But it's just, one of those things where I'm like, you lose a little bit of aura when you drop the Do Bronx. Ilya Taporia lost some aura when he tried to change his name and everybody rioted and they were like, the fuck you doing? And he changed it back immediately. Right? Like it's just not a good look. So had to be mentioned, had to be said. I like Charles Oliveira this week, you guys. And I know everybody that thinks I'm just an absolute fade on all levels. That terrifies each and every one of you. I like Charles Oliveira. If I was going to bet anything on this card, Charles Oliveira money line is actually probably one of the things that I'm most considering, because I do think that he's got the higher ability to finish in a 25-minute fight. He's the prepared fighter. He's been in camp for this fight. And in Brazil, they're not going to reward Mateos Gamrot for sitting on Charles Oliveira's chest for this amount of time, right? Like Charles will look to do damage. He will look to escape. He should have the better cardio the deeper this fight goes. Gamrot probably fades out somewhere in round 3 or 4. I think we get an Oliveira like round 3, round 4, round 5 type of finish. And I talked about this one on Monday. The prop numbers are insane. You want to do just the round props, by the way, because Charlie O is the kind of guy who can finish however he wants to. So it's like 10 to 1, 14 to 1, 20 to 1, something like that. But if you wanted to get more specific, I actually think it's a knockout. I've been trying to fade Gamrot by knockout for a long time. He keeps on just barely surviving and escaping me. But once he's tired, I think Charles is going to be the guy that gets it done. And those numbers are crazy. Round 3 is 20 to 1. Round 4 is 28 to 1. Round 5 is 40 to 1. I mean, we're getting big numbers on Charles Oliveira for late round finish props, especially by knockout. That's the way I like this fight. And that, you guys, is the undefeated post weigh-in show. I actually have 0 bets locked in right now because I don't really like this card from a betting perspective. Charles Oliveira is probably the number 1 shortlist bet that I want to make. Montel Jackson was the pick earlier in the week. I chickened out on parlaying him up. I'm not sure if I'm going to now. I like Yoel Alvarez, but the money line is massive. Maybe take his knockout prop. Pinto at plus money, I might take a stab at. I do like Ricardo Ramos as a favorite, but again, that number is very, very wide for somebody who's very untrustworthy. I liked Michael Aswell. I should have jumped in on him when he was minus 140, minus 150. Now with the broken hand, I don't know what to do with that with Lucas Almeida. I don't want to lay minus 200 or higher on him. Eileen Joffel Filo in another coin flippy kind of fight, so I'm not sure I want to flip coins, and that's probably a very good live betting fight, so maybe we just sit tight on that one. Vitor Petrino inside the distance at even money is something that might make my card, but again, that guy's more of a fade for me than anything, so I don't know if I even want to do that. Beatrice by sub, that'll be the one. If there's something I'm playing, it's that prop, Beatrice by sub. Lean nickel, coin flip, not going to bet it. Pilastri, inside the distance or KO, might get a little sprinkle from me. Hate the first fight of the night. It's a tough week, you guys. It is a tough week. And if you go out there and you spread bets out all over this board and you make tons of money this week, God bless you. Because I don't know how anybody's going to pull that shit off. I feel like we're going to see some insane things on this card that nobody saw coming. Shout out my guy, Korean John, saying taking a chance on Gamrot's first KO. John, I don't hate it, buddy. I don't hate it. And real quickly, let me see what that number looks like. Gamrot by KO using cloudbet.com, you guys, is plus 589. Ooh, somebody must know something, John. Somebody must know something, because I feel like that number should be higher. That's one of those ones where I can bust the tinfoil cap out one more time. I feel like that number should be higher. Gamrot getting his first ever KO and then doing it over a former champion and a legend like Charles Oliveira. That number should be bigger. All right, guys. Good luck this week. I expect violence in the main event. Maybe that's a way to look at that one as well instead of picking a side on it. I hope you guys make piles. I hope you guys cash tickets. Do me a favor, hit the like button on your way out the door. And if you have any comments after the live stream's over, throw them down in the comment section. That goes a long way to boosting the algorithm. And of course, sign up at cloudbet.com. Good luck, you guys. Love all of you. Even you haters. Be good. Let's roll.